high performer doesn't equivalent to the next in line for promotion.
Sales itself is a bit more on individual performance. What is the numbers? What are you presently at? What is the challenges you're facing? What can you do to it? And then the last thing is, how can I help you?
Personality will be hard, right?
The obstacle very often is the business owner themselves.
Either blinded by their own ego, if not, then they're blinded by blind spots.
Sometimes they're actually looking into a team member, but end up it may be actually the business owner itself.
So without driving license, everyone will be, sitting in the car but unmoving.
It's about how this leader, a good leader, can actually lead the whole team itself.
How do we able to tell whether this coach is qualified to help us?
If you do not reach what the things that we have discussed and agree with, all the charges will be paid.
Wow, that is an unresistible offer.
You sure this can work?
Hi everyone, welcome to Asia Business Owner Podcast, BOSS for short. With the changing economy, especially after pandemic, do you ever wonder why business lifespan is getting shorter? Do you ever wonder what causes it? Are you one of the business owners who are in the midst trying to figure a way out? Or are you intending to start your own business venture believing that everything will work out but somehow you feel something is missing? Or do you want to start a business however, you do not know what to go for? If you have all these questions on the list that I mentioned earlier, or many more that I have not mentioned, then we are here to fill the gap.
Hi, this is Joe.
Hi, this is Ben. So before we kick start, we'd like to encourage everyone to do us a free service by subscribing to our podcast so that we can invite more business owners to come on board to share their wisdom experience with all our audience. So today we are going to ask a very business question to a business consultant. But before that, have you ever wondered why business need business consultant? Who will you approach for consultation on business challenges? When does business need a consultant? What exactly a business consultant does? And how do they charge? Today, we are pleased to invite Marco from Enhancement and Empowerment Partners to clarify the mystery of this industry. Hi, Marco. Can you do or take a minute to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Marco here. I'm from a company called EEP, Enhancement and Empowerment Partner. What we do is they do business consulting, executive coaching for companies that actually find that they have challenges they face, no matter at which stage of the business they are, from beginning to the end, where they're expanding or they are feeling stuck in the place where they find how to move further from where they are from now.
Right. So what led you to become a business coach? Was it something you planned, or did your own business journey lead you into coaching?
Thank you for asking. I think this is a very good question. I became a business coach. It's not really what I planned, but I actually have that kind of experience since I'm quite young. The first thing that I do is I actually break up my father's company into 3 different companies itself, so that can be managed by 3 different brothers. That's about when I was like 25 years old, about 30 years ago. So after that, I actually started with a salesperson in the US-based consulting company, providing market research and consulting for MNC global companies in industrial sectors. So in that research firm, anything that is not under chemical or IT will fall into industrial sectors. So it gave me an opportunity to explore to various businesses, from manufacturing to batteries to automotive. That's where I gained a lot of experience in different business sectors itself. And then I was in all the sales professional, from test and measurement, localization company, IT, hardware. And the last one I came in is the mental health company that provide employee assistance program. This is a place that actually really turned me from a professional salesperson to a business coach and a certified management consultant.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting journey.
So there are so many business coaches in the market today. In your opinion, what makes a good business coach? And what separates a great one from the rest?
I fully agree with your question. And indeed, it's a very difficult and a very challenging one. What in the market itself is that what I feel a good coach is somebody that able to have you think clearly, make clearer decision, and then to take action. And end of the day, the coaches should let the clients to be less dependent on them over time, which means that their main target is to get themselves fired in the whole journey itself.
So how long does a typical journey take?
It all depends on the challenges you have. Some if you talk about executive coaching and you need to see changes in the personality, behavior, and things like it probably takes like 9 months to a year. So because these are the things that is embedded into individual, and it takes a long time to actually find the root cause and to actually slowly unlearn the behavior from there, which takes a longer time. For business challenges, it can range between 3 months to 6 months. It depends on where the challenges are facing.
Right, but personality will be hard, right? I mean, if they're at the executive level, to change their behavior, it must take a lot of self-awareness.
Yeah, I think the personality is one thing that they changes, the most challenges, and the main thing is that the individual at that level must be able to admit that they are the ones that at fault. And before they even reach that stage, it's very difficult to change.
So when you're talking about changing of personality, you're referring to the business owner themselves or their team member?
It all depends on what they are focusing on. Sometimes actually looking into a team member, but end up it may be actually the business owner itself. Let me give you an example. There's one case that the client was actually engaged me to actually see what happened to their team. They're not performing. Is there something wrong with the team itself? The owner feel that the team they are not performing, and there's some internal challenges that stop them from moving forward to the target itself. So, okay, and I hear what the owner says. So before I go that dive in to see what's the problem, so I actually requested to see into one of their company meetings. So inside there, I was shocked. For the 19 minutes, I was shocked. I saw the boss was shouting to every one of them, the whole team itself, throughout the 1.5 hour meeting. Everyone, no matter which department they form, how they perform, how good they are with their client review, anything. They were just he was just there to scold everybody. Even if the employer tried to justify, the boss will point out the area that they made something wrong. For example, the boss will say, "So you don't think that I don't know you spend 30% of time on the overseas business trip for your own leisure? So what if you close the project?" Things like that. And I was really shocked. From there, after the meeting, I have another debrief with the boss. I told them, "Boss, what you say may be right, but is this what you gotta get out from the meeting itself? Is it a ventilation session for anger, or do you want to get your business growing?" So after I give them the boss a simple agenda how to run a meeting, a very simple agenda with 5 simple questions. You can ask every member, like, what is the numbers? What are you presently at? What is the challenges you're facing? What can you do to it? And then the last question is, how can I help you? Then after 3 months, I went back after coaching, and some of the employers who came up to me and said, "Marco, you have done a good job. The meeting after you attended, the boss changed the way of managing the meeting itself. So we don't get scolded, and then we have the session is more pleasant, and we get our challenge resolved." This is the target of what my business coaching is about. I want to base the success of my coaching by the number of lives that I touch with turning my fingers.
Are you in the process of writing a book?
No.
I think you should.
I need a lot of help to do that.
Well, I think Ben can help you in that aspect, I think.
Writing a book? Oh, okay. Yeah, why not? But the key thing I think I do reckon with what I shared just now is that true enough lah. Very often the stagnation of a company probably yes is the leader who need to be the one who take the first step to make changes. Yeah. So without realizing that their own shortcoming, then company probably will be tough in progressing any further. No matter how good or talent people you recruited, yes, the obstacle will forever be there. And the obstacle very often is the business owner themselves.
But it's a
Yes,
very good use case about the good work that you're putting in there. Yeah, because I think end of the day, a lot of leaders, right, they are either blinded by their own ego, if not, then they're blinded by blind spots. And yeah, so it's always good to have an objective party that can actually point them to look at things in another way.
So, Marco, which one is more challenging to you? Coaching the business owner or coaching the team member?
thank you for asking. Good question. I think the approach are very different. When the persons come for coaching, they probably have to see whether they are coachable or not. As a business owner, if they come for coaching, they probably know that they want to get some improvement for themselves, or else they probably won't be spending time and effort to do the coaching itself. So typically, when they are in there, the effectiveness of the coaching much higher. It's more difficult, but the success rate is higher. Whereas for a team that came in, it may have mixed factors. One is that they are forced to come. Second is that they maybe just want to explore without an objective back behind. It's not something voluntary. So anything, coaching is like counseling and like something that you have to learn it voluntarily. So with that kind of mindset in that, coaching a team, you can see performance, but it may not last because they just want to show every that period of time it can perform, but then it may not have permanent changes after that.
Back to the initial intro that I was asking the question of when do you need a coach? At what stage should a business owner consider getting a coach? And when the business is struggling, or when it's growing, or even when everything happened to be going well?
When it's dying.
Yeah. So at which stage?
Very good question. Very good question. I think at every stage of the business itself, there is a need for coaching, no matter whether you are growing, dying, surviving, or actually stagnant itself. Different stage itself will have different needs to help the company to grow from one to another. So like before you grow, it's the best time to have a coaching. That's where you actually know when to go for. During growth, it's very variable. So when it's struggling, then it's something is very urgent to do. So is everything going very well? There's a potential to from here to the next level. So it depends on where you are looking at different stages of. So that's why I say that that is anytime that every company, every business will need a coaching itself.
Is there a framework that you use? Yeah, because I think end of the day, coaching is also having clarity of the goals, right? And then understanding where their current state is and what is the gap, right? Do you have a framework to think through all these kind of things?
I think the framework itself is very variable from different companies itself, and also very variable from different industry itself, because I am not very specific. I don't cover only one specific area, and then you actually cover a different area itself. So let's say in the manufacturing sectors itself, their challenges may be very different from a construction basis company itself. So are very different. So the framework itself are actually putting end of the day to see what is the stakeholder main concern of the whole coaching itself. And we actually practice a lot on 360 stakeholder coaching itself, which means that a lot of time is based on what is the final needs that actually will be proven the result of coaching purposes.
Right now in the market, they have different role, like business coach is one of them, business consultant is another, professional leadership role is another category. So how do you differentiate the three in between?
Very interesting question. And then the challenges is that in the whole industry itself, there is no specific international guidance to actually grade anybody as a licensed business coach. Even the ICF, International Coaching Federation, only provides a framework, but doesn't mean that it's a excellent business coach itself. So anybody, in actual fact, can call themselves a business coach, even though they are not running a business itself. So for me, my own personal opinion is that in order for yourself to be a business coach, you must have professional ethics. You must know that what you're doing, and most important, as I mentioned before, you should be, in end of the day, you must aim to get yourself fired, which means that your client should not be very dependent on you. That's the main professional ethics that I would emphasize on that. So the second thing, you probably need to have certain business experience actually to know what the challenges that you face from there. And then you probably have some experience to coaching competency to actually help people to realize it, to realize the diagnose, is the business growing, is the financial well enough, what's the challenge that owner is facing, what's wrong, the growth strategy itself. So there's many type of coaches, as I mentioned. There's some motivational coach that people go into change your mindset, and then have also be more confident, and then be accountable, and then change the habit. So this is motivational coach.
Wow. In matter of fact, it's really not an easy industry or career to build on. Because they're quite a wide range of knowledge, I believe that coaches, in fact, need to equip with. So especially when you're actually talking to a company, or when a company engage a business coach, what should they realistically expect to achieve for the company? I'll just quote you an example. For my case, as a fractional CGO, Chief Growth Officer, I definitely will guarantee able to grow the company revenue by 20% by end of the year. So this is actually one set of example. So for your case, what kind of realistic achievement that you think your customer are looking to achieve?
I think end of the day, to me, it will be a company should choose a coach when they want to choose coach, not because they just want somebody to talk to. The main thing is they must be able to find out the problem they have, and then where's the direction they're going into. So a business coach should actually help the client to produce better decision, stronger execution, and then measurable business impact itself. So which means that the client should actually expect there to have a clear clarity, what's went wrong, what should we go, how actually going to do it, how to measure, and capability, things like that. Typically, I actually go with the client and see where are they targeting to go. It's first you have to find out their alignment. Is it because of revenue, or is it because of actually getting smoother into the sometimes it's not about revenue. If you say I want 20% growth margin, they don't be bothered. They can't be bothered about that kind of margin. So actually really into what is the end target itself. I actually did some coaching with some very senior executive, and it was the company actually asked me to do some coaching with him. And the end target is that he needs to change to work with his team. Because the team is performing, but because he's a leader of the team, they don't get well together. So the end of the day is that it's not about how much revenue you can found. It's about how this leader, a good leader, can actually lead the whole team itself. So the end of the target, if this leader can't change, you just lead off, fight off. Very clear target.
Let's go along the line on the leadership. In your own opinion, what makes a good leader in the company?
I think the leadership itself is, the word itself could be very clear in the sense that you're supposed to lead from one point to another. And a lot of time leadership leads with the idea that I just want to reach a target and forgetting that you got a team that's following behind. So the leader itself is not only to reach to the target, but also to ensure the whole team itself come together in the same path to reach the target together. That's I think the most important thing of the leadership itself. Give you example of my own history itself. When I was actually starting off in the MMC on research and marketing company, I was inside the industrial division, and my whole team is actually based in KL, so I actually in Singapore itself. So in the first week itself, I closed a small deal, a couple thousand of research paper, and then within a year itself, I actually closed the biggest project in the whole company itself, which is like 7-digit consulting figure. That's about for industry of Asia, 14 countries, and then 16 different directory segment itself. So the whole project probably will cost, it ended up to a seven-figure project. So my French director just fly in for year one. After I closed that project, I was actually asked to go. I was thinking, what kind of leadership would that be? Is that a good leader?
So how do you take it that time?
I think it's a good experience in the sense that you realize that sometimes when people at different level, they just want to ways to perform and ways to take their credibility. If a junior people like me can close a seven-figure projects, what is the director going to? So that's why I think at the time I would be very young. First sales job.
I do not know where the kind of logic on the but your superior actually come from. Claiming credit probably may not be the best solutions, like for the growth of the company. Then at the same time, I'll be very proud of my team member who can close much more or achieve much more than me. But upon saying high performer doesn't equivalent to the next in line for promotion.
Actually, the actual case after he closed, he was promoted to be a partner of the company.
Okay. I see.
So
Leveraging on your close deal.
Yes. So I have to prove you wrong.
So you're working on different kind of system and platform.
Yeah, I think that's one thing interesting about human. You can't really classify a human as one type. There's many different types of humans around, and then you have to actually able to move around and maneuver them to actually get the best fit to where they're positioned.
That's the reason why I was mentioning on high performer may not be the one who are in next line of a promotion, mainly because they are totally two different skill sets. So we have cases that many companies have very good sales people who achieve the target or even exceed the target. But however, company don't think that he equipped with the managerial skill set and leadership skill set to lead the team ahead. So very often they actually resign and come out to set up their own company to fight with their own previous company, in terms of business. Long after, many actually come out to be their own boss, actually failed in the business that they actually set up. So the reason are actually very simple, because they lack the skill set of a managerial skill set, the lack of leadership skill set, the lack of long-term planning skill set, or even mid-term planning skill set, or what they should be doing. So high performance doesn't mean that you are able to lead. High performance doesn't also mean that you're necessary to be the next in line for promotion. So that is my point of view, which I actually assist company to assess the staff whether they are qualified, to be the next manager to lead the team. I want to hear from you. What do you think about what I said?
Fully agree with what you say. I mean, these are two different skill sets itself. I mean, sales itself is a bit more on individual performance, where it actually goes into reaching your own target market and your own target numbers and target segment, and then you just charge accordingly. And you need a team back behind to support your sales. I mean, sales itself is just numbers. You need somebody behind to actually perform the numbers that actually you have promised to your clients. Whereas the manager itself is a totally different segment itself. Manager, you can see that it's the word manager, it's the word managing, which means you're managing the team. It's not about taking a number. It's how to make sure that the whole system, the whole projects you're looking into is managing correctly, progress accordingly. And you're not only managing your own number, you're managing a team towards the number that the company is working on today. So it's quite common that what you say is correct, that a salesperson, when they came out to their own business, and they may be very successful for a while because they are solo premium. They do everything on their own. It's fine. But if they, at a time where they start to expand, that's where they find the challenges because they can't able to manage people. And people managing skill is a different mindset of the skill that that actually compared to just an individual solo player kind of thing. Because everybody may have different agenda back behind. So it is a totally different skill set. What you're doing is very impactful. You know, it's something is very responsible for companies that actually needs to put them into the right place. It's like putting the right passenger in the right seat. So company, a lot of time companies are able, SMEs are able to allocate the right person, the right fit. They think that, oh, certain person, when they reach certain numbers, they actually can do a measure. But no, they probably need a bit of training to actually to reach that level to actually manage people.
Right. You know that as a business coach yourself and a professional leader like us, as well as business consultant out there, all these concepts have been very popular in the Western country for many, many years. However, when it comes to Asia, especially Singapore, we realize that it's not quite high in demand. Why do you think that the situation in Singapore are so different?
I think it's not so much of I mean, the whole thing itself is about the culture of the environment that we're looking into. The Asia cultures are very different. And a lot of time, SME itself is a bit more of the family business itself. Now, give you a few examples. You know, a lot of times that traditional Asia business people thinking that business owner should know everything. I know I built my company, I should know everything, I should know what I do. You know, that's typical Asian culture. A lot of people, they say that some Asian, even some Asian senior level people, executive in the MNC also may have that kind of mentality that about hierarchy and seniority. I was doing some projects, for example, projects with MNCs, with oil and gas companies, and I was doing some presentation for some of the employees there. So I actually invited a psychologist to do some talk on human behavior, things like that. So when the psychologist came in, and then the HR practitioner or the HR manager said, "Do you have somebody with gray hair?" Which means that
Somebody with what?
gray hair, white
Gray
hair.
hair.
Oh, so they were thinking that the older people are more senior, are more experienced, you know, are more successful. These are the Asian culture, even though he's in the MNC oil and gas industry for many years.
Hey,
It's
pardon
just a
me,
culture.
Marco.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't mean to be lame, but young people do have gray hair these days also.
Yeah, but it's the look like the whole thing. I was actually very shocked, you know. They said that you actually take gray hair as seniority experience. Now sometimes also the Asian culture, the family business itself can be also a barrier. You know, sometimes like family business, the father approve everything, the mother the purchaser, the purchase everything. Then the uncle running the sales, and then the CEO is the brother that manage the operation, and nobody knows the KPI things. So these are something that actually is the culture of the family itself. Actually, is a burden. So which is why that may not be what they say the coaching and the fractional leadership are not in Asia because of the environment itself. That's why
You know how I actually face it is for startup, for example, they're basically like people who riding bicycle. You're riding alone. Yeah, how fast you want to be, you're basically alone. So when you start to build yourself, you're trying to buy a car. So with a car, what you need to do is you need to first get a driving license before you have passenger in your car, right? So without driving license, everyone will be sitting in the car but unmoving. So when you grow much bigger, probably you need a bus, a coach, right? So there again, you need to learn and how to drive a bus. So same thing likewise, I think that a lot of business owner in Asia or even local, they do not have the tendency to understand that they actually need to learn to equip in order to get the license before they can move ahead with the current vehicle they are having. So what do you think about this explanation on how businesses should engage coaches, consultants, or even fractional role to help them in their career journey for the company?
I agree with your scenario, your example, the way how you describe it itself. One thing is that as I say, the SIB in Singapore, in Asia itself, sometimes may not have the luxury of time and also luxury of the financial to actually go in depth to sit down and even think of this example at all. If you have opportunity to talk to them in this way, maybe they have time to analyze it and sit down, they probably agree. The challenge is whether do they have the time to do that. That's something.
Okay, so what's the factor actually causes the struggle for SME here right now in Singapore?
I think there's many factors. There's no one generic factor for all. A lot of times that different factors affect different industry, and also different industry have different challenges itself. So one of the main challenges in Singapore itself to SME is probably the cost of running the business itself. Now, the cost itself will actually slower the progress of the development of the company itself, especially if you are leading F&B or F&B kind of thing where you have very high overhead, things like that, they will be burden from that. A lot of times SME also may not have that kind of skill set or that kind of planning long in advance to even start doing going to business. So some of the company where they actually started a business, they just want to say how can I just earn a little bit from there and then growing from there. There's no strategic planning from the beginning to end. There's no end target yet. So these are sometimes where the SME will actually fail because they do not project how far they can grow. I was actually helping a bakery company. They are quite okay. They're doing about 30 outlets in Singapore. So I was thinking, what is your strategy? They said, no, we have no strategy. We just open and sell and open and sell and sell. And that's their own strategy. So, I mean, they are not considered small, but they're not considered as big as Bread Talk, but it's big enough. But even at that level, 30 shops, 30 outlets, and one central kitchen, they may not have that kind of strategy to actually go forward. I think what they are based on is on their experience, on what they feel that the market is about. So they don't even have time to even sit down and think, what's the next plan?
So it's just like what I shared on the earlier analogy, which is the owner itself, they are driving the bus without a license.
Yes. Yes, you are right. And then sometimes some of the SME, they also don't have energy to move forward, even though they have succession. Like one of our clients that doing manufacturing food itself, the owner or the father that was in this industry for 40, 50 years, he said, I started this business because I'm poor. So now I have rich enough to provide my children, and the children are in this industry. It's okay whether they want to improve it, they want to close it, they just maintain it, it's fine. We are not that poor anymore. So we don't really care about this. Some of the SME are in that mindset.
Right. So is there
totally agree.
Yeah, is there any preference industry you like to work with and why?
I think the industry that I work is all SMEs, SME in general, especially in these service businesses, things like logistics, construction, technologies, food industry. Reason because a lot of time they are founder dependent. So they think the founder are the one who actually decide everything. They probably have quite a margin to work on. And then if they are managing well, the margin can be much higher. And for a lot of time, they have very weak system, which means that they don't have a system how things work out that way. So this is a place that actually need to put a lot of help. Second sector will be the F&B and food manufacturing itself. So they are the problems on this area, they are probably on to productivity, automation of the expansion. Now these are the area that F&B and food manufacturing they're facing. So there's a need for transformation and the need to improve their capability development. This is where I can closely help them. And also area like the construction and building environment. These are like Some of them, they have technology gaps. Some of them, they have, as I say, succession issue. This will actually help them to be more scalable.
What is
You know,
the
there's a
first
couple-
question that usually SME owners will ask you before they engage your service?
It's the first question. A lot of times it says that, why do you think you can help me?
Mm.
So
Why
how
do
do you
Okay.
answer?
I'll say that, what do you think you need help? You have to ask them, what do you think you need help before I can show you what can I help.
I actually thought that the first question is, are there grants or not?
I always say that grants are just subsidiary. If you have no interest to develop or to improve further, grant is nothing. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of money.
Does any organization at one point of time want to engage you full time instead of just be their coach?
There is companies that want to engage you at full time. But of course, it's open to that. It all depends on how much contribution I can and how much impact I can do to that company itself lah. You must understand that a full-time individual and external coach, they have two different roles in there, and there's two different credibility itself. A full-time, you have really deeper impact in the organization because they actually run the show. But one thing is that you only benefit one company. That's the wonderful thing. And the disbenefit of a full-time stuff is that you lost your flexibility of talking about what you think about in true fact. For example, I don't think we should work like this. As a consultant, as an external coach, it's very credible, something that's flexible. But if you are inside there as an employee and people in the senior staff say, hey, am I challenging my boss? Am I challenging the whole system? So the so-called freedom or independence of speech have been tied down because of your restriction when you're in the full-time stuff. So that is another challenge.
Right. So is there any specific criteria that you'll be looking into before you decide to help the company or not? Like, for example, some will insist that, okay, the company must have a minimum of 20 headcount and above, or some may want to have, different branch open, in different countries set up and kind of things. So do you have any kind of criteria like that?
I think the most important thing is that I must have a deep impact into the organization, that align with their mission that interests me. So for example, let's say a company is doing it fully on grant basis, the health company as well. Joe had asked, any company that wants, is there a grant for this project? If a company like this are asking for a full-time job, I will not go into it because I don't feel that is the impact I want to bring to the company. I'm not only just there to provide a grant. You can't provide a grant, go to Enterprise Singapore. You just apply on the own. You can get grant on there. So this is there. So I say you must have a genuine mission that actually interests me to have a big impact into the whole company itself. And of course, you have to have a meaning industry. As I say, if you're a grant company, I won't join you. Then end of the day, it all depends on whether at the time of point, is that something that I'm comfortable working on too. So for instance, you ask me to work on a 16-hour shift or over midnight shift in the US, I don't think I'll take that kind of challenges because I have a family to take care of. So it all depends on the life period of time that
The season of life.
correct, that's right.
Ben, tell me, how do we able to tell whether this coach is qualified to help us? So how do you qualify a coach that can able to help the company and achieve result?
I think the first thing is that you should not tell the coach too much of what you're looking for. You should ask the coach what he is specialized into, because certain coaches are different in different areas. Some are very good in actually system designing. Some is very good in human capital development. Some is actually very good in just sales training portion. And some is good in executive coaching, which means just leadership. So a lot of time when you to evaluate a coach, you also must firstly understand what is their profession, where is their special area. If the coach say I'm good in everything, then probably there's a first red mark lah. You're probably not in the area that you're looking into. If you have a specific area that you're looking for, then
So it's just like if you want to engage a swimming coach, you shouldn't approach a football coach.
Correct. Yeah, right to say that.
Right now, for what advice itself alone to business owner today, something you wish every entrepreneur understood before building their business, what would that be?
I think the first advice I tell them is just like what a coach should be like. Don't build a business that depends on you. You should build a business that actually, because of you, become stronger, but eventually you will need to be the one who operates it. So in short, you own the business, become a business owner, not a business operator.
Oh, that
So
makes a lot
there's
of
this
sense.
saying, right? You're working on the business or working in the business.
That's right.
I like to ask my consulting clients previously, it's that, okay, if you as a boss, can you afford to take a 3 months holiday? If the answer is yes, then good for you. If the answer is no, then you better work on the business, not in the business.
So in
That's
your own
correct.
opinion, Marco, what do you think? Why is it that a lot of bosses always feel so busy? Sometimes they might not even have time for holidays.
I think one of the majority reason why the boss are so busy because they do not actually position themselves at where they're supposed to be. They always think themselves as a business operator, and they do not have the care of trust in themselves. Means that they cannot trust themselves to trust somebody to actually work on things. A lot of time your delegation stuff, your delegation skills should be there. You are able to let people to handle things that can be handled by other people. I always train some of the business owner, to put your work tasks in A, B, C, D, E, in the sense that A is something that only you can do, and the rest of it, whether you have time to do, you can dedicate other people do, then you can just delegate away. So a lot of time the business owner do not know how to have time because they do not classify the priority of what is the only thing that they can do. Now they think that they must do everything, but at the end of the day, a lot of things can be distributed and delegated to other people.
So do you think that for a startup, a coach is necessary?
Yes, I think our startup as coach is very necessary actually, because it actually helps them to be very clear of what and where to be more realistic of what they think is. A lot of times startup thinks that these are things that I think can work. These are things that I'm sure that will work, but they do not have the reality check. A good coach actually really to stick in front of the client and say, are you sure this can work? Tell me why this can work. And keep questioning the startup, especially the startup, because they always have a fantasy thing. Oh, this is something that I hope for. This is something that you'll work in this way. But a coach is actually let them realize that this is the reality check for them that, are you sure? A lot of times there's no somebody in there to tell them, are you sure? And a coach is the one that is not biased to anyone. It's very centralized. They have a clear position, tell them, hey, this is something that you sure you can do it, and show me. This is something that a coach should do.
So based on your own experience, coaching industry, would it be on more blue ocean at this point of time, or is going into the red ocean?
I think it's going to be a blue ocean itself. A lot of times that the people were thinking that the coaches industry getting smaller and smaller, but I think that is actually getting bigger and bigger because AI actually helping the coaches itself to be differentiate between what is a coach and what is not a coach. If you want a question, just go for AI. AI can give you any answers that you want to ask. Where a coach is a person actually going into in-depth understand what's the whole situation with conversation, with understanding, and deeper analysis of what they can pick up from the individual. Whereas the AI is just a person, it's just the way you key in what you think it is and you give the answer. So the coaches are the ones actually able to pick up all these things that the AI won't be. So it's a very good opportunity for them.
Marco, do you mind I pose you a challenge?
Yeah, sure.
In 30 seconds, will you be able to share with all our audience what is your strength, and by engaging you, what you can help them to achieve?
Start from now.
Anytime when you are ready.
Okay. I think for me itself, I actually very strong in human capital development. I actually help people to understand what's their strength and weakness and able to help them perform to the level that they think they would want to be. My always promise to the clients that if you do not reach what the things that we have discussed and agree with, all the charges will be free.
Wow,
no way.
that's wow, that's an unresistible offer.
How would they be able to contact you if they like to engage your services? Because we will leave the contact by the end of the podcast through email or your personal phone number.
Both way will be fine. Email and personal phone number will be fine.
Okay, any last advice that you want to share with our audience?
I think the potential is always there. No matter you are startup, no matter you actually at different area of your business itself, the potential is always there. The only thing is how you look at it and how you going to focus on it. Wherever you focus, you will see a different angle. Just like when you actually feel that you're in the beginning of a relationship or end of a relationship, it's totally different aspects of. So keep yourself in the positive of the beginning of a relationship every time in the business.
Right. Okay. So before we end the show, we just to sum up what we have actually learned today, which is that for any business owner ourselves, all right, do not try to drive another big vehicle without a license. To learn before you start to drive, especially with your passenger in the vehicle. Okay, that's number one. Number two is that we do not need to assume that we know everything. Yeah. So never try to test whatever situation. It can become a very disastrous consequences that we will never know that we will get ourselves into. So having a coach is definitely very important. In times to come, no matter you are a startup or you are in the midst of growing or you're at the bottleneck, I think with someone that able to give you advice or explore your potential of the company, I think that is come in very, very handy. So with that, then we will leave the contact of Marco at the end of the show. And yes, do remember to subscribe to our podcast once again. And yes, we will see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks, Marco.
Bye.
Bye.